reminiscent of the famines in Ethiopia as well as Biafra in the last century. WFP Program Director Ross Smith urged for urgent action. His comments came after the UN-backed Integrated Food Security Phase Classification Initiative, or IPC, has said that the worst-case scenario of famine is now unfolding in the Gaza Strip. The IPC said immediate unimpeded humanitarian access is needed to prevent a rapid increase in starvation and death. The group said famine thresholds have been reached in most of Gaza, though it stopped short of issuing a formal famine declaration. Meanwhile, UN Women has warned that 1 million women and girls in Gaza are facing mass starvation, violence, and abuse. The agency also said that malnutrition is soaring and essential services have now collapsed. Now we go back to our guest discussion with Ross Feingold. He's a political analyst. Thank you, Ross, for staying with us. Now, what's your reaction to this this news and warnings set by UN as well as other organizations about the starvation?
Clearly, there's a food shortage in Gaza, and I think anyone who would deny that would be very foolish to do so, regardless of what political office they're holding in Israel or supporters of the Israeli government. Clearly, due to the blockade and the limited amounts of aid that have been allowed in over the past few months, there's a shortage of food. But I think some of these organizations need to be a little bit careful, because comparing it to some of the examples they cited, whether that's Biafra or Ethiopia in the last century, I think there's some risk there. It's just simply not established yet that the scale of the food shortage or the malnutrition in Gaza has reached that level, especially now with limited amounts of aid resuming. The situations that they compare it to are ones in which tens of thousands or even more people died of malnutrition or starvation. And that's not the situation in Israel, in Gaza yet. And frankly, I think it's going to, when they make those comparisons, it only causes the Israeli government to go into denial and become more hardline. And that's just not conducive to getting aid into Gaza and to the people who need it. So again, I would caution those organizations against making those comparisons if they're not really supported yet by the facts.
And now, to prevent further catastrophe, what political and logistical challenges are standing in the way of ensuring this access to the starving Gazans there?
That's a really good question, and it's been such a matter of heated debate over the last few months, because Israel and the United States launched this Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which was a newly formed organization with very little experience doing this. They were rushed into Gaza, but only allowed to operate a limited number, a very small number of distribution centers. And although the World Food Program and World Kitchen have had some limited access to Gaza over the preceding few months as well, generally Israel is not allowing certain organizations that have experience with this kind of thing to operate in Gaza. So the chain, the logistical chain, the distribution chain really needs to be set up again almost from scratch. And that's at a time when there are still hostilities ongoing. We have to keep in mind that Hamas and the IDF are still fighting each other in many places in Gaza. And again, that just shows the importance of reaching a ceasefire. As soon as there's a ceasefire, then it'll be safer to deliver aid. And again, I think Israel will be under international pressure and will be responsive to that to allow more organizations and that have experience with distribution of aid back into the Gaza Strip. But we're clearly not there yet, especially in the absence of a ceasefire.
Thank you very much, Ross.